Of course, it doesn't apply to every Japanese, but when it comes to communication style, there is a quite big difference between Japan and the West. Just knowing that, it might help you have a good conversation with Japanese people. I hope so. If you have been watching my channel, you already know this. When I interview someone, especially Japanese person, I'm frequently nodding. By the way, we call this aizuchi. Actually, some people find it annoying, especially Western people. Nobita, that's distracting. Why you are interrupting the speaker a lot? Aren't you just pretending to listen? I get that kind of response all the time. But if you are speaking in Japanese, that's actually totally normal. The Japanese people think that you are respectfully engaged, and that's kinda relieving for them. So here is my suggestion. When you talk with a Japanese person in Japanese, maybe you wanna give them a small interjection, aizuchi, more often than usual. I see. なるほど。はい。はい。そうなんですね。なるほど。Just like that. Okay, here is what you should really keep in mind though. Don't take the aizuchi as yes. Remember, for Japanese people, it's just an indication of understanding, not necessarily agreement. But so many foreigners misunderstanding that and take it as yes. In addition to that, Japanese people don't clearly say no when they wanna reject something or someone. So you really need to read between the lines. What they say verbally is often not the same as what they actually imply. Ne is a particle that is placed at the end of the sentence. So dictionary gives you this kind of explanation usually, seeking agreement or confirming something. But that's not the only meaning of ne. What I really like about this particle is that it makes the tone of the sentence soften, and it gives an affinity atmosphere between the two. It's quite subtle, but it does make a difference. So I actually use it a lot.
声の大きさすぐちょうどいいですね。ネットが今調子いいみたいですね。うまいですねそれ。
どんな時に感じますかね。日本食です。食べ物ですか。
なんでだと思いますかね。
私だったらそう思いますけどね。
Just adding ne at the end, you can include a small nuance of affinity. You are saying like, we are not strangers, we are in the same bubble. The same goes to a particle よ。もう5時だ。もう5時だね。or もう5時だよ。So the basic meaning is actually the same, but the second sentence has a little bit more connection, friendliness, and intimacy, slightly more than first one. But actually, I'm not using that consciously. It's completely subconscious for me. I think other Japanese also. When I feel I get closer to the person I'm talking with, I subconsciously end with ne. So when you start a conversation with a Japanese person and you feel it's going well, maybe you wanna add ne or yo at the end, and you can create more friendly atmosphere by doing that.
I think we are a very good listener, listening to others. We're always saying like, hi, or like, but we are very like weak at like expressing ourselves. Like we can't cut in between the conversation. Like I think there's lots of people say like conversation in Japan is like playing tennis. You hit a ball and then the others are trying to catch the ball. We wait for them. And then like, it's like catch and throw. Whereas in the West, it's more like a basketball. You want to take the ball. You have to like steal the conversation, so you want to cut through if you want to say something, and that's very, very different. And sometimes I still struggle with it, but you just have to like break the wall and like try to like get the ball sometimes more like aggressive when you want to talk.
So for example, when Americans and the Japanese have a conversation on something, the Americans are dominating the conversation. I've seen that so many times. I wouldn't blame them though, because that's the way they do in their culture. But in Japan, we are more focusing on the listening part to show you respect. And it seems like the Japanese people don't want to talk and don't have any strong opinion. But that's not the case quite often. They are actually waiting. You hand over the speaker mic completely. So I want you to do that. Give them plenty of time to speak back and never interrupt. That's gonna give us much easier to give you the opinion. Keep in mind, in Japan, the conversation is like a playing catch and more focusing on the listening part. So Japan is a hierarchy society and people care about age a lot in many situations. In fact, Japan is famous as one of the most age discrimination countries in the world. Sometimes even just 1 or 2 year age difference matters to them. And this is actually related to communicating with Japanese people. So in Japanese, we have quite many different degrees of honorific. We call it keigo, by the way. For example, let's say you wanna ask something to someone. If it's a boss or a customer, you should say like, もしよろしければお聞きしてもよろしいでしょうか? If it's a coworker or just acquaintance, maybe you can say, 聞いてもいいですか? If it's a close friend, you can say, ねえ、ちょっと聞いていい? If it's a subordinate or someone you can be bossing around, you could say, おい、聞くぞ. So depending on the relationship with the person, what type of honorific and what type of vocabulary you should use are totally different. This is one of the big characteristics of speaking Japanese. Compared to other languages, the difference is quite big. And when it comes to that, your age is a big factor for Japanese people to determine how they speak to you. So if you are older, how they speak can be much more polite and formal, even if you are just 1 or 2 years older. But if you are younger, they're gonna speak more like a friend's talk. Okay, if it's a business situation, Japanese people usually try to be polite and formal, regardless of your age. But other than that, many Japanese really change the way they speak based on your age. So my suggestion is that maybe you wanna be a little bit more conscious about their age and change the way you speak to them accordingly. Lastly, let me tell you something extremely important for you. If you wanna have a conversation with Japanese people in Japan, make the first move. Always. I know this is generalizing, but quite many of us are actually really shy. So they really want you to talk to them first. Now this might be surprising you, but actually so many Japanese really want to talk with foreigners. Maybe they don't look like that, but they secretly hope that. Nowadays, many people want to practice English and they are really interested in your culture. Some Japanese have never been to any other country, so it's a great opportunity for them to connect with the world. At the same time, it's great for you also to practice your Japanese and to interact with real Japanese people. Remember, they are waiting. You talk to them first. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you should come up to a stranger and talk like a douchebag. I'm talking about a situation like a party or event that you have many people who have the common interest. Nowadays, meeting and talking with Japanese is getting much easier anywhere you live. But if you don't talk to them first, nothing is gonna happen. I promise, if you talk to them politely, respectfully, and confidently, nothing bad happens. So I want you to think like this. You go first and you win, regardless of the outcome. Not just making friends. Anything in life. If you want something, you got to take action and be the first person.